Let me know when to start.
All right, yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to the BRG Boardroom. So BRG meaning Business Readers Global Boardroom. You're welcome. If you are new to any of our live section, or this is your very first time you're joining us online, or you happen to stumble into this video, the BRG Book Club is a boardroom where we come to dissect different literature um, documents. So we read specifically business books. And for the direction we have been chatting in the past 2 weeks, we've been looking at the book written by Richard Rummet. Richard Rummet has written two books, which happen to be in our repository. And the current one that we are reading is The CRUX. The CRUX is a book that teaches leaders to become strategists and is been quite revealing and insightful literature. We're almost rounding up. So today's the last day. We're almost rounding up. We're actually in part 5. This book is divided into 5 parts, and this is the final part. We started on that particular direction yesterday. Part 5 talks about the strategy foundry. And I explain what the strategy foundry is about. It's a process by which a small group of executives can do challenge-based strategy. Now, they do this because they want to discover the crux and create a set of coherent action for punching through those issues. It is quite different from strategic planning or other so-called strategic workshop, where the outcome is essentially a long-term budget. So yesterday we started unpacking part 5. We started with chapter 18. And we had that discussion, which was taken by Saoluwatoyin on Rumsfeld's questions, a set of questions that is important to ask when you're looking at the strategy foundry. Today, we have someone in the house. In fact, the two speakers have recently not been around in the house and are going to be joining us. I've seen one of them, Comrade Ubong Emmanuel, who is going to be handling chapter 19, a foundry workthrough. So I'm happy to really welcome you, Comrade, to the boardroom after a very long time of being here. So welcome and thank you for all your achievement so far. We're looking forward to listening to you. The second speaker, however, is unavoidably absent, Lady Crystal Princess. She's on a business trip, so she won't be in the boardroom to be able to take chapter 20. However, we have David Epese, our BRG technical arm, who is going to be leading the conversation and closing this subject for the CRUX. And it's called the Strategy Foundry Concept and Tools. So without much talking, I'd like to hand over the mic and welcome Comrade Ubong to the stand to please give us an excerpt of chapter 19. You're welcome, sir. I don't know if you can hear me, Ubong. Hello, Ubong, can you hear us? Hello, everyone, can you hear me? Hello? Everybody's frozen. David, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So over to you, Mr. Obong, if you could hear me. I've already introduced and welcomed you to the stage.
Can you all hear me, please?
Obong, we cannot hear you. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me? I can hear you, but
Yes, I
the
can.
the network is breaking.
You mean me, David, or
Yeah,
Ubong?
But can you see the screen? Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. I guess the airport is distracting.
Yes, I have to take it off. I just have to take it off. All right. So, good evening, everyone, once again, and thank you very much for having me here. After a long while, as has been it has been said by Princess, my very own indefatigable boss, whom I am pleased to work with. Um, I have missed the boardroom, like I rightly mentioned, but well, anyway, it's all for good. So, thank you for having me here once again. I would have said that my job for today, or my assignment for today, has been completed with that brief expository or of chapter 19 of the book we are currently reviewing, um, has been mentioned or has been narrated or explained by Madam Princess. But be it as it may, since this responsibility has been put on my shoulder, we'll still dive in a little to see what the author, Richard P. Rumate, have to say for our learning and implementation in our different businesses and in probably walks of life, has been penned down for us in this book titled The CRUX. So we are going to look at chapter 19 of the CRUX, and the caption there is a Foundry Walkthrough. And I'll be presenting. My name has been mentioned already, by name Comrade Ubong Emmanuel. So let's dive into the introduction very quickly. Next slide, please. All right, thank you very much. I want to believe all of us have read through this particular chapter, and we have a lesson or two to learn from it. This chapter in particular, okay, is all about strategic focus for leaders, and it is centered on strategy process. Okay, how as a leader, how you can be focused in your strategy, how you can ask some key and relevant question that will help you, put up your strategy in the right perspective, and how you can strategize in order for you to make progress. Okay, so it is centered on strategy process. All right, so the strategy is, as you can see on the introduction, strategy is not a goal or a plan. It is a way of solving a problem. Okay, goal and plan is completely different from, a strategy. You putting up a plan that, okay, maybe in 5 years time you want to be here, and your goal is to have so amount of income. A strategy is, what are those things you are going to do, or what are the things you are going to do, you are going to put in place to see that your plan and your goals is being attained or is being met. So strategy is completely different from you setting up a goal, and as well you making, having a plan for your business, or whatever thing you are doing. But narrowing to us here is our business, and probably in our various offices. Okay, so like I did mention, strategy is not a goal or a plan. It is a way of solving problem. Okay, because when you make plans, when you have a goal, you need to identify those things that could be hindrance for you not to achieve those goals and your plans, and then you work towards it. So that's what strategy is all about. So in this chapter, um, roommate strives away the corporate jargon of vision statements and strategic pillars. A vision statement, when you set up a business, is what you have seen, or what you want to achieve, or how you want to project yourself. And then strategy here is to help you to attain all those things. So he argues that for an entrepreneur or executive, the strategy process is a search for the crux, the points where a challenge is both critical and addressable. Okay, we are very familiar with this word, or with this terminology, when you are having a conversation with someone, either in the office, at home, and then at a point you could just pause, okay, and ask a very key relevant question to see if the person gets your message, or if the two of you, or the group of individuals that are having this conversation, are in the same at the same page. Okay, and then you ask, what's the crux of the matter? And this is just what, okay, this book is all about. The title of the book and chapter 19, trying to, okay, get the crux of the matter to solve a particular problem that you've been faced, that is hindering your business, for you to solve that problem, for in order for you to attain your goals, your vision, or your plan. So let's have the um, next slide, please. Okay, so having read through this particular chapter, I I come about with some strategic objective, and I tackle identity. You identifying those problems, and then trying to solve them. You will agree with me when you read through this particular chapter, when the roommate had a conversation with the top executives, giving them questions, asking them questions for them to, for them to give their feedback or for them to answer. And then he come up with some key identities of what he has been able to factor out or to figure out from the response they were giving. In particular, in if you read number 5, when he was having this conversation with them in that particular chapter, he said, in your own view, what are the priorities issue currently being addressed by Farmco, the particular company he was having this foundry walkthrough with? So, and he asked them what projects and programs currently underway at Farmco are aimed at this priority issue. So, having identified this or having asked this question, he gets to spots out some of these challenges and say that they have issues with quality, customer service excellence, supply chain excellence, low cost manufacturing footprint, increase efficiency and flexibility, and you can name them if okay you read through that particular chapter. So um, I have noted three key strategic objectives here. Like I said, I title it the identity. Now, to lead a business efficiently, your strategy process must achieve these three things. One is for you to be able to diagnose, the problem, and I tag it here the truth. When you go for a diagnostic session, you are bound to find out what is wrong, either with your health or whatever thing you have been put under to pass through that test. For example, if we take our vehicle to the workshop and ask the mechanic to diagnose the vehicle, at the end of that diagnostic session, they will get to discover what is wrong with the vehicle. So same thing with our businesses. Okay, for you to identify the challenge and work towards it, you have to diagnose, all right, the situation, and then move beyond symptoms. You must define the nature of the challenge. A good diagnosis simplifies the often overwhelming complexity of reality by identifying certain aspects of situation, okay, which is critical. All right. So when you carry out this diagnostics session, just maybe with your top executive, that's when you will get to know what the issue is. Number two, very quickly, creating a guiding policy. Having been identified what the challenge is through the diagnostic session, you have to create a guiding policy, which I tag it as the method. This is an overall approach, choosing to cope with or overcome the obstacles identified in the diagnosis. It directs action in a specific way without defining exactly what shall be done. Okay, so that's another step for you, okay, to have these challenges being achieved. When you diagnose, you have to do what said the guiding principle, which is the method working towards you achieving that which you have discovered. And then number three, which is the last here, is coherent action, which I call it the muscle, the key of what is going to help you, achieve what you have been able to identify. Strategy is useless without a set of steps that are coordinated with one another to work together in accomplishing the guiding policy. Okay, and this has to do with teamwork. There is a saying that the tree cannot make a forest. Okay, so you have to collaborate with the other, staff members, haven't identified this for you to be able to achieve your goal, and that is the coherent action. Okay, and it has to do with teamwork, because certainly you might to some extent not be able to make it alone. Okay, next slide please. All right, thank you very much. Now, I haven't read through this chapter. There are some lessons that we as business owners, we as entrepreneurs, occupying maybe a sensitive position in a different workplace. There are lessons that we have to learn. And haven't learned this lesson, we have to, you know, um, add it to our daily work life for us to be able to succeed in our business and in anywhere we find ourselves as leaders. um, Strategy is no as much as yes. There are some things you will identify and you choose to you know um, go cold without taking a very swift decision. And there are some things that you could identify that will propel you to swan into action immediately. So strategy is no as much as yes. The most common failure for executive is strategic sprawl. Trying to do something. If we go to a dictionary meaning of that particular word, we will get to have more insight of what roommate meant. Sprawl is to sit with the limbs spread out, that it has more than one meaning. To spread out in a disorderly fashion, to struggle, and then to scoop the leg backward. I think number two is what is really attached to the meaning of this particular lesson we are learning from this book. And then the power of anticipation. You don't need a crystal ball, but you do need to understand the propensities of your industries. If you understand the propensities of your industry, then you will know how to work towards you achieving your goal. Look for the friction points where competitors are likely to fail. Okay, let's say it's a business that you have more than two or three people that are into that same business, and then in carrying out all this survey, you have to work out strategy, looking for a friction point, looking for a point where other competitors are likely to fail, where they are not doing well, where you notice that there are lapses in the way of them doing business, and then you can apply that to your business for you to succeed. Avoid the goals as strategy. Like I said, if you have a goal and then you think that your goal is a strategy, you are not thinking towards the right direction. Because if you have a goal and then there are some loopholes, you need to look for where the lapses is or are, and then you try to cover it up. And I said listing a 20% increase in revenue is a goal, not a strategy. A strategy explains how you will achieve that growth by identifying the specific barrier in your way. Okay. I hope we are together. Are we together? I'm not
Yes.
hearing a response.
Yes, sir, I
Okay,
can hear
we are
you,
together.
Mr. Obong. I can hear
All
you.
right.
We are
All
together.
right. Thank you very much. I wanted to be sure that we were together. So thank you very much. So like I said, a goal is not a strategy. Okay. So if you have a business and you said, oh, I want to have so percent increase in revenue, and that is purely a goal that you have set up for that particular business, it is certainly not a strategy. Okay, strategy is, you doing something to achieve, to have a certain growth that will bring about that increase that you have itemized, okay, that you have projected to have. And you have to identify specific, barriers that will hinder you achieving, the increase, and you work towards it. So let's have the next slide, please. All right, thank you. So um, I have also come up with uh, three key take home for us in today's review as business owners, as leaders, as entrepreneurs. And there are: one, the CRUX mentality. Stop asking what do we do. Sorry, stop asking what do we want to achieve. Okay. Instead, start asking what is the most difficult problem we face that we actually have the power to solve. I think we should move away from asking this business, what do we really want to achieve? But we should look at solving a particular problem, probably that our competitors cannot solve or could not solve. And that will, help us to grow the business, because when it is customers or our clients see that line of business is problem solving, that's when they will get to, patronize us, and then the business will grow. Focus is a force multiplier. When you concentrate your finite resources on a single solvable point, you create a breakthrough that all inclusive plans never achieved. Okay, so if you look at if you focus, all right, you will see that there will be a lot of things you are going to achieve, and there will be a lot of multiplication. So we have to concentrate on key areas that we have identified as the problem, and then solve them. Accountability in any business is everything. Accountability is certainly everything, and that has to do with the right people you've hired, your attitude, and also their attitude towards the business, and then also them having a mentality of ownership towards the business and being accountable. So I said, if your strategy doesn't result in a change in behavior, okay, for instance, you put up a strategy and you want every members of staff to key into it, and then you come back the next day and you don't see a change, probably in their way of doing business or in their behavior, then it isn't a strategy. It is a daydream. Okay, maybe you are just thinking that, oh, this could work, and let's But if you rule out a key strategy in achieving success and the members of your team key in, the next day you will certainly see that you have put up a strategy and you've succeeded. So um, before I conclude, in totality, the crux urges that true strategy isn't about setting ambitious goal or vision. It is about identifying and overcoming the most critical challenge standing in our way as entrepreneurs. So if we know this, then we'll be able to work tirelessly, calculatively, okay, to achieve our goal. In conclusion, now I want to challenge us, okay, that we should all go back to probably our leadership team, go back to our business, strip away the fluff, okay. We should try as much as we can, putting all our arsenal down to find the crux. We have to build policies. We have to execute actions. When doing this, we will discover the crux of the matter that has made our business to fail. We'll be able to solve the problem and we'll be able to redeem the image of that business and we'll have growth in multiple fold. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
David, do you want to say something?
I mean, Mr. Ubong really did justice to chapter 19. It's very perfectly thought through and detailed enough. I mean, from his explanation, he seems to, even from his explanation and slide presentation, seems to be like he was one of the co-authors of the book too, in a way. But I mean, that was apt and I mean, great presentation by the way, Mr. Ubong.
Ms. Obong, that
Thank
was
you.
beautiful. Thank you very much for your submission. I was thinking you were of the thought process that you were not ready. And having been missing in the boardroom, I think we miss the growth, the evolution. David, that's my take. We miss the evolution. You know, when you're always appearing in the boardroom and taking these sections, um, we all get to see the level of strength, courage. We see character in your presentation. We see depth. But you came back with so much fire. Even your slides, your notes were more packed than your slides, which was very good and so detailed. You tend to have summarized the entire book for us, you know, for those of us who have been following from the very first day. You summarized the entire book, The CRUX, and that was brilliantly done. So thank you very much for taking the time. But I want to echo one particular trait. And that trait is a trait of I can do it. On so many other occasions where Ubong has been given challenge, and I know that it was because of the fact that he was, in politics and it was very busy times. He has, waived the need to come into the boardroom to present. On this occasion, there was something Ubong said. He said, I've been given a challenge. I have to do it. I have to show up and show out. And I think you just did. I don't know what time you had to be able to put up your presentation, but I'm very proud that you did. And I think it must feel really good that you actually did this presentation, right? So we don't even need to give you any commendation or accolade, it must feel really good. Now, Saulu Atoyin is just joining. I wish he was in the house to listen to you. Oh, but he will listen to the recording. Saulu Atoyin, how are you? And Maro, you both are welcome. It must feel really good, Ubong. So receive your flowers and we leave the boardroom for your opinion. I have Ayobami, Morayo, and also to Maro. You can speak to the presenter and also his slides. David, you can anchor this group, the rest of the conversation. I'm going to take a very important call, if you don't mind.
All right. Okay. I can see Lady Ayobami's hand. You can go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Hobong, that was a very detailed presentation, I must say. And the closing was fantastic. And just like, I don't know who mentioned personalization yesterday. At some point, you personalized it and you brought it into reality. So good job. Well done.
Okay. Who else has their own submission to Mr. Ubong's? Okay, I can see Mariah's emojis and flowers for Mr. Ubong. I mean, true and true. Mr. Ubong, there's been an incredible improvement in the presentation, and I'm also delighted too. But we do also, love to see your face more and more. Okay. Okay. This is 6:49. Our time is also fast spent.
I just wanted to
Okay.
comment on
Okay, Mr. Maro.
Yeah, so the one I met, I liked that personalization part of it, just like Madam Ayobami just mentioned. And also, I think I like the passion with which he did his presentation. He added life to the presentation, which is something I really liked. So well done, Ubong. Well done.
Right? But it's just kind of
Okay. So sorry, my network just keep going off and on. Okay. So for the last chapter, our presenter is not available, but I'll just do a summary of what the last book of the chapter, which is the concluding chapter, which is titled Strategy, Founding, Concepts and Tools. And I will do a summary of what. Okay. So I'll just be doing a summary of what I got from it too as well. So again, we are reading the book called CRUX, which is tackling the most important things, the most important challenges, the most important problems in organization. So, and this particular chapter in chapter 20, it also reinforced the idea that, when leaders comes together to come and discuss, it shouldn't be about budget issues. It should be about only financial issues. It should be a discussion of, talking about, the key important things that affects the company to, move forward, and not only in terms of financial or monetary value in particular. And they highlighted, some key important things to ensure that, it stands as a basic rule in terms of making strategies, making correct strategy in times when they have to meet together. What are the things that they have to, do and do, right? So firstly, you mentioned that, at the point of, when leaders are meeting, and this point is to be a point where they are discussing key important things. They shouldn't be talking about budget alone, like I mentioned earlier, but they should, focus their target on, the standard of, organization, where they are currently, where they need to be, right? And also, giving themselves visible target too as well, right? And cut down every other unnecessary maths that are not important to the role of the organization and where they want to be in future. The other point here that I also, have is that, they should have small and knowledgeable groups. So when making up this these meetings, right, it should be a group of leaders who have ideas. So let's say a company of, over 1,000 people, and at least we have like maybe 20 leaders. So in that group of 20 leaders of the organization, right, they will need to be grouped in, let's say, five, and not all of them, right, in different areas, right, and questions should be given to them, let's say 8 to 10 questions will be given to them to answer some core important information about the company. And in this community where we have this same set of people, right, they are to give, I mean, they are leaders who have an idea of how the company is run, and they are to give their honest feedback, and even including the owner of the company if they are present there. And, they give their feedback, and as usual, right, they give their feedback based on what they understand in terms of the technology, in terms of the customer, in terms of what the business entails entirely, and make it neutral. The essence of also making it neutral is that when people are coming for, when they come for the, strategic foundry concept, right, what they need to do is, ensure that there's also an external person who can, who doesn't have any emotions tied to the brand or the organization, but is ready to give their honest feedback as well. So this honest this middle person, I would say, right, is more like the facilitator, right? The person could be like maybe an auditor or something, right? What the person does is able to also identify that, okay, what these people have said is actually true, and what his own observation is also true, and is also making the process easy for them to able to tackle the main problem of the organization. So it is often the best way to have an outsider facilitator who can treat even the boss as just who can treat the boss as just another participant, and encourage people to speak more freely and speak more frankly, right? So nobody is, giving a side to, oh, I like the boss, that's why I will not be honest with the organization, right? So on the other part here I have is also commitment from the top. So that being said, that everybody has come together to give their feedback on tackling the issue of the organization, right? The leader also needs to behave in a way that, whatsoever answer they are giving, right, they are also following it through. And it's not like one person is going east and the other person is going south. So whatsoever solution is the solution that they are to follow through down to the top, and there's no divided mind, there's no divided attention towards the goal that they've set, or the solutions to the problem that they've discovered, right? So everybody should be single-minded in terms of the solutions to the problem, or in terms of solutions to the crux of the problem. And we also talked about the key tools to be used in this workshop exercise. One of the key tools that the book mentioned was to defer from judgment. So, deferred from judgment, this means that the group should also restrain from making final decisions or criticizing ideas early on, so that more information and creative solutions can emerge. So nobody should be quick to say, oh, this is the final, this is the last, this idea is okay, right? There should be a breather to whatsoever have been said, so that people think it through and say, okay, yes, I think this works and this would last. So it shouldn't be a top of the mind idea, or top of the mind solution that somebody thinks of and everybody buys into, right? It should be something that should be documented and everybody look through and say, okay, this is final, this is okay. And also, it should be something that should be done. So this is there should be a time viewer, right? So this time viewer is almost like saying, yes, our company, is our company. This is where we want our company to be like. This is where our company to be like in the next 15 years, right? What do we need to do to be like these other companies in that couple of years? So, and in that stage, they also to make their, what's it called? They also to make their workshop, right? This workshop of coming back to circle, or the corporate world to say circle back, coming back to also make uh that same meetings, to tell themselves, to ask themselves, okay, uh you should have an interval, rather. There should be an interval of, let's say, 8 to, let's say, 16 months, right? That was like a year plus. That, okay, once we've done this one, we've looked through the crux of the problem that we are currently facing. We brought in a solution. Can we give ourselves the interval of, let's say, 8 to 15 months? And this within 8 to 15 months, let's see what grows again, what we need to also tackle again, right? So that we would know that, yes, we are making progress little by little, or we're making progress in bit sizes, right? And also, in terms of the workshop exercise, right, it's also very important for there to also have people who are, there's a word they call it, who can play the devil's advocate, rather. So in terms of when it comes to making strategic decisions for companies, right, it's also good for the body of teams to have someone who is ready to play the devil's advocate. The devil's advocate is those kind of set of people who are not like enemy, but in that boardroom or in that session, right? They are ready to see it from another point of view. They can see it from the point of view of the government. They can see it from the point of view of the policymakers in the country. They can see it from the point of view of the consumers, right? In terms of any other solutions, in terms of the solutions they are providing to the problem that they are solving, right? Those people are able to tackle an idea that is coming out from that sessions, right? So somebody come up with an idea of a logistic problem, a solution to a logistic problem. Another person comes to tackle that idea, right? So those are the kind of people that we need. They will need also in the in the workshop session of reviewing the crux of the problem, right? These people are very important to give clarity, to give a focus on what they need to do. And the other part I have here is also for the whole team to think again. And this is the discipline of checking your first intuitive answers to problem and looking at it from a different angle to avoid falling into mental traps, right? There's a lot of times where people are focused on just one thing, but if we are able to think again and see it from another point of view, like I said earlier, that's why there's always a need for people to have like people who are ready to play the devil's advocate, so that you are not always seeing it from your own point of view. Other people are seeing it from other different angles, different stakeholders' point of view, to help come up with the creative solutions. And also, instant strategy. This says that if the group gets deep into the into the weed, they are they are asked to write a one sentence recommendation for for action in just 2 minutes to help focus on what can actually be accomplished, right? So again, it's just to ensure that everybody are also on their 10 toes to be able to come up with solutions for the company as well. And the other one I have here is leaders are forced to also explain the actual obstacles blocking them from blocking them rather than just listing metrics that they want to hit, right? So when these leaders come up together, again, like I said, they have to come up with that to explain, right, why challenges have been why they have been affected by challenges, and things that really matter. I mean, just saying it through that everybody understands and people are able to come up to, get to the root of the problem and find a perfect solution to it. And the other part of the book which talk about the ASC, which is addressing strategic challenges. This is a major goal of Foundry, and it is to take things off the table. And it says most organizations try to do things with try to do like 100 or 50 million things at the same time, which at the end of the day they end up not doing anything, or just maybe just one works out. But the using the foundry strategy, forces them to to pick a proximate objective, right, and tackle it one by one, and such bits in bit sizes, and that bit sizes help them to ensure that there's a short timeline to the solutions that they are providing for each problems. So that help them to able to manage. So let's say they have like a pile of problems that they're supposed to tackle, right, which maybe could be listed to like 15 of them, right? Understand the fact that there's still enough manpower. They're able to divide it and able to cut it down in bit sizes and divide it among themselves, and ensure that yes, it's done in record time, and they're able to move on to the next one and clear all the 15 problems that they've been facing, and do it in one after the other. So, and in that way, right, they tend to move faster and faster. So okay, the founders forces the group to pick proximate objective and a task that is critically important, but they can actually finish in a short period of time, in, let's say, such as 18 months. And also the final swearing in, which is the process. This process ends with a formal swearing where every member gather in circle to affirm to support the choosing part. So this is when everybody comes together and also affirm that yes, we've also agreed on this solution to the problem, and we are also going forward with it. This is meant to also prevent a two-faced behavior where an executive agrees in the room, but then somebody come up to also badmouth the plan to their subordinates later on. So the group agrees to hold on to the course and help each other succeed onto the next founding sessions. So in essence, right, the swearing in is just also affirming that as a person that I am, or as an individual working in this organization, I affirm that this solution that we have come up with, I not like you're more like almost like taking an oath, but you are affirming that you hold yourself onto utmost responsibility and integrity for the company that you work with or the organization, and saying that this is a solution that we have come up with. I'm in agreement with it and I'm aligned with it, and would see it through to the next phase of we coming together for other foundry sessions or foundry strategy sessions. So this is like the summary of what chapter 20 taught us in the book The CRUX. And that's my final note for this. Thank you. So I would like, if anybody has any contribution, any suggestions, would love to hear from you. Would love to hear from you and your comments as well.
Mr. David,
Yes, ma'am.
we have heard from the best. So from me, Nothing to add except to say it was a wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Mariah. Thank you, Dr.
All
Mariah.
right.
Thank you, Mr. Obong.
Okay, sir. I think I would not want to stretch it further. Then I would say brilliant. Um, Very brilliant submission. Um, Brilliant summary of the book we are currently reviewing. And I think personally, I have gotten one or two that I have learned each, and I will also apply it into my day-to-day business transaction. And I hope to be, a better person having read through this particular book we are currently reviewing. So thank you very much, Mr. David.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. Okay, do we have any other person? Mr. Tony, thank you for joining, sir.
Thank
Or
you. Thank you, David. So sorry, today I can't put on my camera because I'm not in a place where it's convenient to do so. And also I had to join late. I just wanted to keep up the spirit. That's why I joined, because it's not really too convenient from where I am. But sorry about that. Great perspective, and your presentation. I believe you're presenting on behalf of our no-show candidates or no-show presenters. So well done for always showing up. And thanks for that, because I only listened to this last one. I didn't follow from the start. So thank you very much, David. Good job. And thank you to all that joined as well.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Dr. Mariah, we see you. Any other person?
David, I missed your presentation completely. I'm so sorry about that.
Oh,
I had to take this. It's been one meeting after the other today. So my head is just catching fire. But thank you very much for closing this particular conversation, the CRUX. It's been an exciting read. I don't know if if you have taken feedback about this book selection, what it meant to strategists, to business leaders, to entrepreneurs like ourselves, what we've been able to unpack. I think is very clear the direction in which Richard Rumet has taken this particular conversation. I, for one, picked up lot of tools and framework from the various discussion. And I think this is also one of the books that we've had a very good turn up, right? Because if you see the lineup, we had 2 weeks of engagement, and everybody in every section really turned up to present the CRUX, which is really commendable from our side as leaders. I think we should keep that up. I've enjoyed the flow. I've enjoyed also the team arrangement. David, thank you very much for putting the schedule up on time. And It's been quite an insightful 2 weeks of unpacking nugget from this book. I don't know about the rest of the leaders in the room. Maybe you can just share your opinion for this particular book and your feedback.
Yeah, so for me, I'd say this book has been quite another eye opener, in the sense that, again, I just find that when we read one book to the next, it's kind of shaping a lot of things in line with what the journey I'm embarking on right now. And that's why I keep coming back to the boardroom, because there's just one new discovery, there's just one new thing that I can apply to the area of work that I am, doing part-time. So I find this book really quite resonating in terms of, some of the decisions that I'm about to make and how it's shaping it, and and also reinforcing my position and reconfirming some of the things I already knew, but just giving it a bit of more um, and amplified, you know, sort of uh, position to those things. So I'll just encourage everyone, keep coming back to the boardroom, keep coming to learn. You may not need it today. Keep putting it in your in that repository, in your knowledge bank, so to speak. One day you'll find the use for some of the things that you've learned in this boardroom. For me, it's active. It's a lived experience right now. It's an active thing. I'm using it to shape my own decisions right now. For some other person, it might be a futuristic thing. But the encouragement, bottom line is that we should never take this for granted, because whether it's in business or even in life generally, there are some things that we've learned here that we put into other areas of our life. When we talked about reframing things, for instance, when we read that book about, was it the one about money, or the one about, was it Never Split Before? One of the
Psychology
two
of
books.
Money, and
Psychology
also
of
Never
Money.
Split the Difference,
Yeah,
because we had
yeah,
reframing in Never Split the
both of them.
Difference.
Okay. So, when you talk about reframing and all of that, it has helped me see things differently from time to time, and makes life much more interesting, much more easier. Because when you just reframe certain things, um, you can put it in perspective and say, oh, yes, could have been worse, or I think this happened, so I can learn something from it, or I think, basically, we're not saying reframing doesn't mean running away from reality. It doesn't mean denial. But again, it gives you the opportunity to put things in perspective and understand the reason why, something happened, or could have happened, or will happen, So um, basically, that's my take. This book, an eye-opener, giving me a lot of perspectives, a lot of insights, and I'm grateful. I've been part of this read. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Oluwatoyin. That was I think you rightly mirror the stage in which I am. So, because for me, is applying it to my current state of affairs, and I love to apply reading. I'm sorry, I didn't see Lady Ayobami. Your hand is up. You like to say something, and then I take it from there. Lady Ayobami.
Okay, thank you, Princess. So there's this clarification that the book kept on emphasizing on, and that is one major mistake that most industries in Nigeria are making. Don't confuse strategy with profit making, budgeting, planning. Strategy is not all about making money. It's about you identifying the problem and finding solution to it. So it's not you can is saying that you can spend money on strategy without expecting a short-term profit, because at the long run, if your strategy is well executed, your money is still coming back to you. But in Nigeria, the few organizations I've worked with, their emphasis is always on profit making. And nowadays, I can see that trend is changing. They are paying attention more on strategy. Even in my own organization now, they don't play with strategy. So that is one major takeaway for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lady Ayobami, for reiterating that particular concept that is shared by the author of this book. Dr. Morayo, any input, Maro? David?
I mean, just taking, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so for me, just taking from what Mr. Ayobami has also said, the book also talks about, you know, a lot of times how not just to just come together and say, oh, the problem is we're not making money, we're not making money. But beyond that, right, what are the other things that we need to fix? And, stating the problem that, the organization is facing, stating it thoroughly, and stating it in plain language that, everybody comes to understand, right? So, and finding the creative solution, and not also just writing the solution, not everything is paper and biro, but the solution that everybody takes to heart, everybody is aware, everybody is involved in, and they own it. Everybody takes responsibility, and they go forward with it. And it's something that, again, I think even on all our books has also emphasized the fact that aside from having all this discussion, it should be something that should be done, recurrently, so that at least you know that there's always a progress that they are making, or there's something that they are not seeing in insight, or I mean in plain sight, right? Those kind of things happens, right? When there's always when proper strategy is done, right? The things that could be obscure, the things that might not be clear will be made clear, and solutions coming through those moments. I mean, that's my own take for the book so far.
Thank you very much, David. So I noticed that you kept to time also, David. So for both Ubong and David, kudos and thank you so very much. This book has been heavily reviewed and we've had a total. So if I look at it, I think we had 7 presenters board, which is 7 by 3, that's 21, right? We were supposed to be 21 BRG member presenting this book. I can't remember a total of those who were present, but I think it's only very few, maybe 3 in the lot that couldn't make it. So roughly 18 members were able to review this book and present a chapter. Correct me, David, if I'm wrong, right? They're about 16 to 18 people presented.
Yes, in total, yes.
In
Because we
total,
had,
which
yeah.
is really very good for a particular literature. So nicely done. Thank you so very much, David, for that technical support. We know we were not able to go live on 2 or 3 occasions. Please kindly upload the videos for each of those sections. We should have the recording. So if you can upload it, that would be great. Thank you also to every leader who joined the call. It was amazing, great takeaways, great deliberation, beautiful conversation, lovely insight. So it's always good when we're together and we're bouncing ideas, asking questions. Maro came up with a lot of questions. Sometimes we even had to answer those questions in his absence. So it was really nice conversation for me for this particular book. I think it's a book that we all have to revisit. For those who didn't read through, there's a lot of nuggets we have to pick and framework or concept that we can extract from the book. Yeah, so big thank you to everyone who presented. I think we can draw the curtain on this book and look forward to the next section. So we're supposed to have a 1-week break and resume, but in this case, it's not likely. So today is the 4th of February, and I don't think we can finish a book or resume another book the following week, because that week is going to be the Ramadan, start of the Ramadan, which is on the 18th. So we are going to take most likely a break or look for a book that is not so heavy to read during the Ramadan period. And so that other Muslim counterpart can join us to read the book. Yeah, Valentine. Yeah, I know. Valentine is coming. Where is your boyfriend? So David knows the song. Yeah, I can see he's dancing to it. Yeah. Yeah. So there's Valentine on the 14th. So usually it's going to be a break. So this whole week is covered because today is already, so we just have one day, which is Thursday. We go off on Thursday. So nobody comes into the boardroom on Friday. So the following week is supposed to be a break week. And there's Valentine on Saturday. So I'm looking at the calendar. And then the upper week is now going to be the Ramadan. So yeah, we're going to take a break. If there's any announcement, we will bring up to, we'll bring everyone up to speed in the boardroom, right? But we'll take a break because of that. So there's going to be most likely a very long break until after the Ramadan. And then we'll come back in April. But we will encourage everybody to also pick a book, a selection from their own library, right? So that they can read all through that period before we come back in April to read the next book. I think that book is on AI. So it's going to be another interesting section to unpack. So on that note, I'd like to thank you all and congratulate us for finishing the second book for the year. It's been a great section, and we would communicate in the offline boardroom every information that is necessary. As always, good night from my end, and bye-bye for now.